Hey everybody, I've got a great card game for you today, and what it does is remind me of FTW, or For the Win from Freedom and Freeze this last year. That game really captured me, and I sure do like it when you have a full table, players are trying to get rid of their cards, and hopefully have the lowest score where you get to play multiple rounds. Mojo does that. You are going to be playing multiple rounds until a player reaches or exceeds 50 points total. Points are bad in this situation. In this game, you want to have the lowest score. And when that happens, you are going to look at your score and see who has the lowest overall score. And this game, again, 30 minutes just really captures me in the same way that FTW did. So I want to show you what the game is and how the core mechanics work. So what you've got here, players have a deck of cards and they have 8. So this is going to be my hand. I've got another player here. This goes 3 to 8. So I've just got that basic game set up with 3 players. Here's the rest of the cards. This is going to be the Mojo card that hopefully you get 0 points for because again, low is good, not the 10. And then this is going to be the discard pile. So the makeup of the cards is important to understand. Let me show you what the makeup is. This shows us there are 79 cards and there are 0 value all the way to 12. So the 0, 1 cards are blue. There are only 8. There are 2 of each. But all the way down here, the red cards, there are 8 of each values, 11 and 12. So wow, what you have is the higher the value, which those are going to be negative points, there are more of them, and that absolutely has strategic value to it. So you've got these green cards, there's 2 3s and 4s. The yellow cards are 5, 6, and 7. The orange cards are 8, 9, and 10. So let's look at this game. Let's see the cards. I'm going to play with this hand. I'm looking at it. I'm the start player. Holy moly, I shuffled these, but wow. Oh my gosh. So I've got a whole bunch of cards. Oh dear me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this card and say, do I have a card that matches that? And I do. So what I'm going to do is play it down on top of the discard pile. If it matches, the card you play matches the face-up discard pile, you get to go again. So I'm just going to go again. These 11s aren't troubling me as much, so I'm going to keep them because what I can do is a run. I'm going to take this 9 and I'm going to play a 9 on top of a 10. That ends my turn. It doesn't match. And because the card I played is lower than the card that was on top of the discard pile, I do not draw a card. I'm done. I'm going to put my hand down here. Play is going to pass to the next player. So they're looking at their hand and wow, they've got some greens, they've got some blues, they've got some yellows, some oranges and pinks. I mean, hello. Does anyone have a 9? No. But guess what? This 8 is a card that you might want to get rid of. Now at the end of the game, you are going to count the remaining cards in your hand, but if you have multiples of the same color, you only count 1, the highest of the card. So if you have singles, I would say get rid of it, and putting an 8 on top of a 9 while it ends this player's turn does not have them draw from the top of the deck. You don't want to get more cards necessarily because you want to essentially have the lowest score, and the fewer cards you have, probably the better. So now we're going to pass to the next player in turn order, and it looks like we've got just a whole bunch of these 9s, and unfortunately the 9 was the previous card, so I'm sitting over here, this player's kind of like going grumble, grumble, grumble. They'll play the 8 and it matches, so they get to go again, but then they're going to have to play one of these other cards, and let's have them play the 4. The 4's gone, now they're not scoring, because if they get rid of the 7, their score just goes from 7 to 6. So it's, again, not the worst thing. But it is lower, right? 4 is lower than 8, and it puts me in a kind of pickle, which I'm next up in turn order, to go lower than that, and low cards are generally better cards. I'm going to have to go higher, and if you go higher, you have to draw a card. So let's do it. I'm just going to play this. I'm going to play an 8. I have to stop, though, even though I have another 8. I can't tell anybody. And because my card is higher than the previously played card on the top of that deck, I have to draw a card from here and add it to my hand, and it is an 11. Boy, I am just praying that somebody else leaves an 11 on the top of the deck, and I can just put them all down one after the other. That is my hope. Okay, I'm done though. Play has to pass. And I'm looking here, there's no 8s. There's no anything that is of value to this player. Yeah, I think they're just simply going to play the highest card from their hand, hoping they can get rid of the other highest card from their hand. So they're going to play the 12, and it's higher than the 8. Their turn ends because it's not the same, and it's higher. They draw a card. And they got another 6. Okay, this is interesting. Whew. All right, next player goes. We are sitting here on wanting to do those 9s. The 999 is really good. So let's just go from 7 to 6, hoping again that somebody leads with a 9, and they can just go 999. It comes to me. Do I have a 7? I don't, but I have to play one that's higher because that's all I have. So I simply just go 8, draw a card. And it's a 0. That's cool. It's just a blue card. It's a 0 card. So here's what happens. Players are going to continue playing this way, putting a card on the top of the discard pile and either continuing their turn if it's the same or ending their turn if it's not. Either taking a card if their played card is higher, they take one from the deck, or not drawing a card at all until one player has just 3 cards or fewer left in their hand. So let's say, for example, we have this player who essentially gets down to these 3 cards. I'm just going to discard these. We're going to kind of, simulate the ending. So on their turn, they essentially had these 3 cards left in their hand. They put these cards essentially face down like this in front of them. And those are the cards that they are going to count as their count for their points at the end of the round, but this is called Mojo time. And now players really have to kick it into high gear because when it comes back around to them, they will just flip over one of their cards and they will say, oh, I got this card. And then it's going to keep going around. Oh, I got this card. And then it goes around. And if they flip over their last card, they take this, which is their mojo. They're essentially hoping to get the lowest score. And the turn ends or the round ends immediately. And then players are going to reveal their cards. And in this case, this was just, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is just 11 points and then a 0. So I had 11 points. This person simply has 2 greens, so one gets sucked up and now they just have 5 points. And over here, who knows what this person had? Let's say they couldn't get rid of those 9s, so they had 9, and then they have the 6 goes over that 5, and here they've got their points. So they essentially had 15, I have 11, they've got 5. So if you are the player who has the lowest score after looking at the points, you're not going to take any extra points. You will take the extra 10 points if you don't have the lowest score and you trigger the end of the round. This is Mojo. It is a clever, fun, fast game. And again, it really reminds me of FTW for the win. It just has this lovely feature, but this goes to more players. So I believe For the Win goes to 6 players, and this plays all the way up to 8. So I think you can include more people here, but you could definitely have a back-to-back round or a thematic night where you've got Mojo and you've also got For the Win. Just a lovely 30-minute card game if you're looking for that filler game. Tons of fun, replayable, and there's nothing more fun than having that one person at the table who just groans every time it's their turn, who sees the other people at the table discarding the cards they want to be on the top of the deck, and then by the time it gets around to them, it's not lining up. That's fun. It's light, it's silly. Don't take it too seriously, and I think you'll have a fantastic time with Mojo. All right, everybody. I'll see you later.